Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman here with you again, and today I've got something new for you. A good friend of mine just recently purchased a new rifle at Bass Pro Shops. It's a Savage bolt-action rifle, and it's still in the box here, and he wanted me to do kind of a little review on it and get it sighted in for him and make sure everything was on the up and up. And it's chambered in the wildly popular and recently introduced 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, the 6.5 caliber itself has been around for a long time. The caliber itself is nothing new. Here I've got a spear reloading manual, and it dates back to, here it says 1970. And the caliber, the 6.5 caliber, has been around much longer than this book has. But in this book it shows many different listings and loadings for the 6.5 caliber in different cartridge configurations. But here we've got one that's the 6.5 by 55. The rifle that they tested it with was a Swedish Mauser. And it says here that this caliber has been very popular in northern European countries such as Norway and Sweden as a hunting and military cartridge. And it's been very popular there for many years. And here we have listings for different bullet weights. Let's see, it goes up to a 140 grain at that time. And the highest velocity here was using N205 powder at 2,674 feet per second. What I've got here are some Norma. These are 143 grain? Yeah, 143 grain. And it says here that the muzzle velocity should be 2,740 feet per second. Okay. For those of you that have bought rifles fairly recently, you're probably having a hard time finding ammunition at this current time because ammo manufacturers are simply overworked right now trying to keep up with the demand. So don't give up hope, because eventually things are going to catch up. So here's the rifle. Let me do a pan down here and give you a view of this little gun as I take it out of the box. I've already opened it and taken a look at it, but I haven't taken it out yet. Here it comes with a trigger lock. It comes factory equipped with sling swivels, and I believe that this scope came on the gun as well. It's a Weaver 3x9 scope. Relatively inexpensive little package, but we're going to check it out here and see what the gun's capable of. Here is the key for the trigger lock. Peel that off. I'll tell you what, that's why I carry a pocket knife. Let me cut that open. Unlock this trigger. I believe the gun's been fired already at the factory. They test fire them. And supposedly they sight these guns in where they're ready to use. I can get this trigger lock off. This is basically the Savage 110 Action, which has been around for a long time. I'll throw this back in the box here. And we'll go ahead and take these tags off. This should include some accessories. Okay, that's some earplugs and the owner's manual. That's the earplugs. And there's a wrench for the scope mounts. Oh, they give you a target too to shoot at. Cool. There's the bolt for it. As you can see, it's pretty much the basic 110 bolt. Has the two massive locking lugs on the front. So we'll go ahead and install this into the rifle. Bolt hitting the scope cap here. And somewhere in here, oh, here we are. We have a box type magazine. Got a polymer base to it with a metal frame. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and get this rifle set up and take a few shots with it, and you'll see just how well it can shoot. I'll take a few shots first of all at 50 yards to make sure that the gun's sighted in, and then we'll take a few shots down there at 100 yards and see how well this little rifle can handle these 143 grain bullets. So stick with me. Well folks, it's a little bit windy today, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try anyway. Here's a look at the bullet. So let me go ahead and take the first shots here. Well, before we go down range, make sure the gun's unloaded here. And now we can go check the target. The first shot hit a little bit high, a little higher than I wanted to. But then the subsequent 4 shots that I made, I adjusted the scope down just a tad. Wow, boy, that's impressive. Look at that group. That's not bad. That's hitting just about an inch high, which is where you want it at 100 yards. That ought to be right on at about 200 yards. That was the first shot I made. Then I moved down 2 clicks, like I said, and then I moved it down 2 more clicks, and then you got 1, 2, 3 shots right there. Those 2 bullet holes touching one another. That's impressive. Out of a fairly inexpensive rifle, you know, with factory ammo, that's pretty good. Well folks, here we are at the 100-yard mark, and I've got these water jugs set up in line with my line of fire, and we're going to see how well that 6.5 Creedmoor will perform on these water jugs. I've got let's see, 7 jugs set up, and we'll see how many of them it will penetrate and what kind of bullet performance we get at 100 yards. So here we go. Okay. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3 jugs that it pierced. I see some water leaking here. I think it bounced off of this one. I hear a bullet in this one. So it went through 1, 2, 3 and bounced off of this one. And we have a bullet at the bottom here. Whoa, well now that's some expansion right there. That bullet really came apart. But you know the lead stayed intact. So you're definitely not going to get over penetration with this at 100 yards. You know, that bullet's designed to come apart even further downrange. That would really do a lot of damage on a whitetail. I don't know if I would use that particular bullet on an elk or anything that's thick-skinned or heavy-boned. That's more for light-skinned game right there. So we'll go back to the shooting bench and I'll give you my final thoughts. Well folks, as you can tell from the dwindling light, the day's coming to an end, so I need to wrap this video up pretty quickly. In conclusion, what I'd like to say about this little rifle, I'm very impressed. The only thing that I don't particularly like is the fact that it comes with this plastic stock, but you know, that's the way these guns come nowadays. And the heaviness of the trigger. I'm going to see if this newer Savage action is adjustable in terms of trigger adjustment to lighten up that trigger some. I think with a lighter trigger and a little bit of work with different loads, this could be a supremely accurate little rifle. You know, you saw the 100-yard group here that I shot. Those two right there were adjustments. That was a bit too high, so I moved it down 3 clicks and then hit right there. I moved it down another 3 clicks, and then those 3 right there fell right in on top of one another. You know, that's almost all 3 bullets touching at 100 yards using a rifle that came right out of the box and factory ammunition, not hand loaded. So, you know, if you tinker with the gun a little bit and lighten up that trigger pull and maybe do a little bit of bedding work, really get that barrel good and clean, and custom tailor a good hand load for that rifle. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. I would take this hunting any day of the week. I would have more than enough confidence in that rifle the way it is right now using those bullets to go deer hunting. But I mean, you could really tweak it down to be a real tack driver. And for those of you that own the 6.5 Creedmoor and were convinced in buying it, I don't blame you, because as a hunter, I'm very much impressed. You know, here's a couple of cartridges. I've got a good photograph that I'm going to show you here in just a second that compares these cartridges. This is the 6.5 Creedmoor, and this is the 243 Winchester. Nearly the same length. The 243 has a little bit more case length, and it shoots a 6mm bullet instead of a 6.5. The 6.5 is a little bit fatter, a little bit thicker, and is longer. You know, it has more ballistic coefficients, which will help you further downrange in terms of wind deflection and also trajectory. And then here we have the 270 Winchester, the ever popular caliber, American's classic cartridge, compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor. And this is a real performer. It's been around since 1925 and is still wildly popular, and for good reason. It's a super flat shooting cartridge. It hits really hard at extended ranges. So, you know, that's just a quick little comparison of these cartridges. So here's a photo of the cartridges that I have lined up next to one another. Well, folks, let me also say that in conclusion, the terminal upset of that 143 grain bullet, let's see if I can get that in focus there, it's rather impressive. That bullet nearly came apart. There's the base of it right there. But you know, all the lead stayed intact, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of bullets these are. Doesn't say here exactly. These are bond strikes, so it's a bonded bullet. And it's got a listing of all the different game that you can hunt here. Extreme long range. You know, this is a good load, I'm going to tell you. And Norma has traditionally always made very fine ammunition. So when you get a rifle right out of the box like that with factory ammunition that can print groups like this at 100 yards, I mean right off the bat without doing anything to the gun, you know, what can you say? I'm very impressed. I love my 30-06, my 270, my 308, 243, but you know, I'm kind of tempted now to get one of these little Creedmoors because the recoil is mild, the report is not really loud. You know, it's about like a 243. It's highly accurate. It hits plenty hard enough for any whitetail, and that's what I hunt mostly anyway. I wouldn't hesitate to use it on heavier game, but you know, what's not to like? It's a good little cartridge. And I mean, it doesn't quite stack up to the 270 or, you know, heavier calibers like the 7mm Magnum or anything like that, but you don't really need that much power. You know, you don't have to go out there and just clobber the game that you're after. If you practice good marksmanship and put that bullet right where it's supposed to go, you're going to harvest your game. You know, that's just the way it is. So in conclusion, let me say, for those of you that own the 6.5 Creedmoor, like I said, I don't blame you because it's a fine little cartridge. I think I speak on behalf of most hunters out there in saying that's a fine little hunting cartridge. And like, you know, like many hunters, I'm usually kind of hesitant to buy anything new at the end of the season, but for next season, I may give it a try. You never know. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching. And I'm running out of daylight. I've got a beautiful sunset here behind me. Let me share that with you. Just look at that sunset. Man, it's just gorgeous. So before all the light's gone and the sun goes completely down, which, well, I think it is completely down, but let me just say I appreciate having you with me, and I hope you got something out of this video. And until next time, this is a Cumberland Outdoorsman wishing you well. And remember, if you can get outdoors and you like to go hunting, fishing, shooting, hiking, camping, whatever it is, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And until next time, you all stay safe out there and enjoy the great outdoors. We'll see y'all.